Welcome to Fast Five, where our three panelists weigh in on 5 separate topics. Let's get started. Colin, D.C. judge has ruled that scaling the White House fence is not an act of free speech. What say you?
I would have to agree. I think that there is free speech has to have some rational boundaries, right? So you can't go and shoot somebody just because you're exercising your First Amendment right. Neither should you be able to scale the fence at the White House or climb into school off hours where you're not allowed, or anything else that crosses the boundaries of, I think, what is common sense.
Well, at the theater, you can't holler fire.
Right.
But one thing it did do, they're now going to add another 5 feet to the fence. So some fence company's going to get a pretty nice job out of it, because that's what they've said. But 2017 or 18, the fence will be raised another 5 feet, because he was able to scale the fence relatively easy.
Well, that ought to be another point or two on Obama's approval rating, right?
It'll probably go up 5 extra feet on the fence.
All right, Ron, topic number 2. The Colonel. Do you eat Colonel's chicken?
I enjoy it on occasion, but I'm not a frequent user of the Colonel's chicken. I like the pot pie that he has a little bit better than fried chicken.
Did his nephew accidentally spill the KFC recipe secret?
And how is that different from Popeyes or other chicken that actually might potentially be better?
Potentially, but I mean, you know, these companies are built on these secret formulas, these secret recipes, the secret sauce. We all use that in business about what our secret sauce is.
You know what I think is very funny? So what is the difference between Pepsi and Coke?
Yeah, I don't know.
1 teaspoon of sugar.
I was going to say one
Literally.
sweeter.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, you've been around town. Did Connie Nicopas have a secret recipe for his hot dogs?
Yeah, I don't know whether he did or not, but they were darn good.
He did. He had a secret recipe. But he later, I think, went on to sell that recipe, or he may still have it. He'd be a good person to have on the program to explain how this all works. You go to Kentucky, they talk about Maryland fried chicken. You go to Maryland, they talk about Kentucky fried chicken.
But nobody can pass our crab cakes.
Maryland crab cakes.
Burkinis, our ban. We talked about those a little bit earlier. Ron, what's your theory on the burkini ban?
I can understand, because you can't see the person, you don't know what's under their attire, but that is their right. That's their religious freedom that they have, and I think that you recognize it. I would just as soon see something like that as I would going down the street with somebody that just came out of a saloon with a weapon slung across their shoulder. So I don't have a problem with their attire.
You know, I think, however, that there's 2 different things that we're talking about here. So I think the burkini ban is ridiculous to a large degree, because it is a completely nonchalant or a completely ridiculous application of something that I think, however, is a more legitimate concern. And I can tell you, having been in Europe, and this is not the first time I've been in Europe and not the first time I've seen it, you go to London and you go to Westminster Abbey, so the tube stop at Westminster, which is where the Parliament Building, Westminster Abbey, all of the main sites around that section are, and you are up to your armpits in burqas. Western Europe, I think, we don't see this here in the States. We are far removed from it. Has a certain amount of concern, and we can't tiptoe around this issue. It is a cultural issue that at some point we have to deal with, because if we don't deal with it, we're giving fodder to very far-right extremist movements that are going to step into the equation.
But back to the original point, which is the burkini, which, in my mind, if you're wearing a burkini, that indicates that you're going to get in the water, and I'm not sure how good a bomb or a gun would do after it's been in the water.
The concern has nothing to do with hiding something. It has to do with the outward message you're sending to a society that claims itself to be secular, where they don't accept outwardly religious garb in a public setting. And this is something that goes back in France for 200 years. Incidentally, the laws that ban the burkini also ban very large crosses, also ban other religious symbols from being shown in public. We're focusing on the burkini. But these laws are much broader in sense, and they're not there to discriminate against Muslims. They're there to protect society from losing its secular outlook.
Would Amish attire be under that law?
I haven't seen a whole lot of Amish people at the beach, so I don't know.
But they do
But you never
go.
know.
They do
I've
go
never
out
seen
on the
them.
beach.
I've never seen them.
Yeah.
And they drive their
will
little
walk out, but
horse
they're-
and carriage, and should we
And
ban
you
that?
know, to be honest, if that's the French outlook, then I would guarantee you that again, I think the burkini ban is ridiculous because there is an important basis for it, but the actual application is kind of ludicrous.
All right, GPS device in cigarettes, nail to dual highway robbers. Ron, when do we get that technology? That's kind of cool.
We've had it. We talked there to the chief of police last week and the sheriff. Some of the technology that we have to be able to affix to cigarettes or to the bottom of a car or to phones is quite, I think, the thing to come of how we deal with a lot of corruption and a lot of problems within the law. I think it's whoever came up with the idea and the technology is on to something major.
Well, but you know, technology can be used for bad as well. I'm imagining, you know, we know what drones look like, and the ones that we see are big. But how about the ones that are eventually only going to be this big, and they can run them into your house without you knowing whether
Well,
it's the
and
government or
I think
somebody
that
else?
there are two things, and Jim, I think you're hitting on them very, very accurately. First of all, there is, you know, when it comes to theft, it is a crime. I don't care. There's no logical argument that somebody can offer that says theft is justifiable. There is a concern when it comes to personal privacy, and that's something, you know, we have, as a society, been exposed to technology in the last 20 years at a speed and at a pace that we have not been able to adjust our social norms to deal with. There is no right answer to this, and as a society, we need to figure out exactly what that balance needs to be.
Okay, last topic. So local liquor laws specify this: that a person in a licensed premises may not touch, caress, or fondle the breasts, buttocks, anus, or genitals of any other person. Believe it or not, this is a question that came up when the Elks Club was seeking guidance from the Liquor Board on an all-male review that they are planning to have.
Now, so if I may, and I'm going to attempt to say this without falling off my chair, my grandmother-in-law is a proud member of the Elks Lodge, so I know what the population of the Elks Lodge is. This is beyond ludicrous, I think.
Well, I guess they're trying to make it a younger crowd. Ron, what do you think?
Well, I'm an elk.
He's also a dancer.
Yeah. It's entertainment. You have to buy a ticket to go. You're not forced to go. I see absolutely nothing the matter with it.
Do you think it's reasonable for them? I mean, I appreciate the fact that they went to the Liquor Board and asked, how do we keep this within the law? I think that's a good
Sure.
thing.
I think it's
But there
good.
is something very comical at some level about the Elks Club having an all-male review. Can you agree with that, Ron, or
Well,
not?
but they're using the venue, the Elks Lodge.
Okay, so it's not the Elks Club itself.
Well, I think the Elks Club is.
Okay, so it is the Elks Club.
I'm going to have to clarify that because I'm not sure that the Elks are actually sponsoring it. I do not know that.
Well, and
I think it's a
you know,
good
to
thing
be
to find
honest,
out.
and I think it's a good question, but honestly, first of all, who cares, right? And not that I have a great deal of experience with this, but I think when it comes to any sort of a strip club, all those things are supposed to be part of it as well anyway, for the protection of everybody involved. So it's kind of a red herring, I think.
You talked about your grandmother. Many, many moons ago, they had one of these at another venue in town. There was a picture in the paper of a lady that was there. That lady had the same name as my mother in the paper.
All right, and you're going to get the last word on that. Stay tuned because coming up, you may go postal about the fact that some of the postal workers may be stealing from you. We're back in 3 minutes. Stay with us.